Hey, this is Sammy with SJZ Construction and Remodeling. We're here in the city of Huntington Park, about to pull our permits. It's not like you just walk into the city and pull permits for every job. Some jobs you could, if you just want to remodel an existing bathroom with maintaining the same layout, even a kitchen, no problem. Most cities are okay with something called over-the-counter permits, where you could walk in and walk out the same day with a permit. Our project, on the other hand, is going to be an addition with a remodel to the interior of the home, changing the layout, changing the floor plan slightly. And for that, yes, we need to have plans. The city wants to know what we're doing and how we're going to do it. So what's the first step? Plans. Either you have an architect or a contractor you want to work with refers you to an architect, or maybe they even do it in-house. You have to have someone come to your house or your project site, draw up the existing layout, show the changes and the proposed options of what it is that you plan on doing with your project. Once you approve the sketch that your architect made, then he goes ahead and adds the engineering component and shows how we're going to make it happen to submit to the city for approval. The city then goes through their different stages and departments to approve your plans. The more complicated, usually the longer it takes. And then once approved, you are now something known as RTI. That's the acronym that's used. RTI stands for Ready to Issue, and it's ready to issue the permit. When you want to pull a permit, there's two ways to pull a permit. One, either you own the home and you're going to be pulling a permit as an owner builder, or two, you hire a licensed contractor to pull the permit for you. The person pulling the permit is the one that takes responsibility for the job. So if you pull a permit and you decide to do the job yourself, then that's on you and you are responsible for your job. And if you hire a licensed contractor to pull the permit, your licensed contractor is responsible for the job. It's very important, considering if something goes wrong in the future, who takes the blame? If you just have them do a certain part of the project versus the whole project, and the liability associated. Once the blueprints and the plans have an RTI and they're ready to go, then me as a contractor am showing up here to the city of Huntington Park to pull the permits for our project, because I'm going to take responsibility for this addition, that it's going to be completed and it's going to be done right. Every city charges a different amount for the permit. I personally don't include the permit fee in my bid. I usually front the costs and then bring it to the homeowner. In this case, the homeowner is actually going to come to the city so she could pay the fees, and I don't need to front the costs. Every city varies. Bathrooms in most cities range for a couple $100, but in some cities I've seen them go for $1,000. In some cities, yes, but it's a loaded question. Every city charges a different amount. For example, I've done an addition in Culver City for an ADU, let's say an ADU project, and the permit fees came out to just over $3,500. And I'm currently in a project doing an ADU in Santa Monica where the permit fees were close to $15,000. When people ask how long does the process take, it's a little bit loaded, but to create the plans usually takes roughly 2 weeks to 2 weeks to a month, depending on the complexity of your project. Sometimes it could go on a little longer, sometimes shorter. Once it's submitted to the city, it takes on average, if there's an engineering component, roughly 2 to 6 months. And more complicated projects take a little longer. Simpler projects are usually a little quicker. And then once it's RTI, you could go in and pull the permit the same day, because the engineers in the city are going to go ahead and review the engineers from your architect's work. So basically what happens is, in the city, there's different components. There's building and safety, and then there's planning, are the two major ones that actually matter. And one of them says, what is it that you're building, and is that okay for your area? Does it match the easements? Are you far enough from the sides? Do you have enough bathrooms? Do you have a landing pad when you step out of your unit? The other one is, let's go ahead and see the structure of it and make sure that the structurally is sound and the structure part makes sense. And so it has to go through those two departments, get the approval between the two departments, and then go from there. What does it mean to pull a permit? Permission to do the job. What do you need a permit for? Everything, almost. Anything worth more than $500, technically you have to pull a permit for. Not everyone follows that rule, but that's technically the rule here in California.